Welcome to the Listening World podcast. I am your host, Sara Joy O'Neill, and today I'm here with Lukáš Piperek from Slovakia. And we've been just now talking about some of the work he does, and we've been talking about hockey, and we've been talking about different things. So, Lukáš, welcome. And
Thank you.
yeah, tell us about yourself and listening, your life, your work, whatever comes to mind.
Okay, so I can start with the statement that I am a coach, or one of my roles in life is being a coach. And I started 10 years ago. You said we had a quick chat about ice hockey. So yeah, I am a former ice hockey player. So I work a lot with not only ice hockey players but athletes. I started as a mental game coach, we can say, for athletes 10 years ago, and like very organically my area of interest and people I work with has been enriched for people from any area of human interest and human work. So and what helped me a lot was discovering the truth about who we are and what life is, because until then it was a lot about techniques and kind of changing how we think using our willpower. But in some at some point it became really complicated for me to be a coach and bring each week for a client a new thing which he or she can do. So I started to be curious about the possibility if there is something more simple than trying to change my mind or mind of the other people. And that's how I jumped into the exploration of who we are, what life is, and listening is related to that for me. So I'm really curious how we will speak about this topic today.
Yeah. So what's the biggest difference you see now with your clients that you've switched from techniques and trying to change the mind into going with, well, how we're made?
The one thing I can notice is that after the session, they are usually before it was the feeling of how would I say it, excitement. Now I can go to the world and now the world is mine. And now they are living not in the high state of mind, but with clear state of mind, with peace, with quiet, with clarity, and it doesn't mean that they don't want to make things in the world and bring their best performance, especially in the sport. But that calling is different. That voice inside is different, like the one maybe we are used to here in our heads. So that's one thing. And yeah, the second one is the change of perspective on life. They see it's more game like thing, not it's not always about life and death.
Yeah. As you were talking about the two differences between the the thinking you have to motivate yourself into a high energy state to then go, take on the world versus operating from your natural clarity. In the motivation way of thinking, you're actually not listening. I know when I did that, I would get it in my mind. Okay, I'm going to go do this, do this, do this. And, it felt like it trying to impose my will on the universe.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. But I realized, just as you were saying, I could feel like, oh, one has listening, the clarity, you're listening to that clarity. And the other one, I don't think has true listening in it at all.
Yeah, it's a different kind of, I don't know, either listening or different kind of feeling. The higher state is something that will dissolve in time, and you have to generate it uh, from
Mm.
zero again. Yeah, but the clarity is something that, yeah, uh, we can um, lose sight of it, but in each moment we can recognize, and that's kind of a listening which uh, I see is really really impactful, because it's something, it's a, if it was a tool, it's a tool you always have with you, and you don't have to rely on anything. And that's, yeah, uh, it's like knowing that you are standing in your power, but not power like this one, but no, the quiet one.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just feeling that in all the words. I had no more words because I was like, yeah, there's a lot of power there. How do you see listening?
For me, it's like a living question.
Mm.
I would say me is like a uh, s- it's like making myself available to experience what is happening right now in conversation, in life, in in activity. So for me, it's like, I would say it's a feeling. Also, the listening, it feels to me it's like a feeling of, yeah, of not being constrained
Mm.
by by something, but being open.
Yeah. I love that phrase you said. It's a living question.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh,
I can I ask a question? Or because I just
yeah.
yes.
Go ahead.
How how is it for you? How does listening feel to you?
What a wonderful question. um, I've answered that in different ways at different times, but recently it feels like, hmm, like I connect, whether it, and I guess it's more like connecting with the energy of the universe. I could say, oh, I connect with another person if I'm listening to the other person. But again, I'm connecting to the energy that you are, which is the energy of the universe. um, and then it feels to me like I sit back
Mhm.
and I'm receiving and waiting. And there's an expansion and an openness and a space and freedom and quiet. And then there's a stronger connection feeling. Um, then there'll often be like it feels like an energy coming up and out, like an expressing, even if I'm not saying anything, or like a, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's intimate thing. That's my experience right now. It's really, when you said it's a connection,
mhm,
yeah, really feeling the closeness. Uh, yeah, it's real. It's intimate experience.
yeah, yeah. Because yeah, there's no separation in true listening with whatever or whoever you're listening
Yeah,
to.
yeah. No
I find
separate.
I find the language funny because we'll say, "Oh, I'm listening to Lukáš. I'm listening to life. I'm listening to myself." But when I let right now, I'm feeling like I don't. I'm listening to everything. There's no. I'm listening to you and myself at the same time.
Mhm.
It's there's no difference.
Listening to the being.
Yeah. It can feel like, oh, well, I'm just listening to what? Everything? Yeah, which is great.
And that's what I like about especially about coaching conversations, because from the context of the conversation, it's it doesn't make sense to listen in any other way, at least for me. That's the listening I want to be in when I am having a coaching conversation. And uh what's my field of exploration, ongoing exploration, that's why I'm telling it's a living question what the listening is, to expand this being listening also to the other, more to the other areas and conversations I have in my life.
Mm.
Because to be honest, it's not always my experience. I find myself that I listen more to some thoughts than to just listen. Yeah.
You're the only one that ever does that.
That's why I'm talking about it.
I'm glad you're laughing and that you know it's a funny joke. Yeah, when you were talking about the coaching conversation, it seems once you know what's available with what we're calling listening rather than say active listening or listening to correct someone or listening to say something, um, the difference is so big. Why would you ever want to do anything else? And then why would you not want to do that in every area of life?
Yeah.
It looks silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that when you have an experience of listening, as we are talking about it, the less makes you sense to don't listen in that way. So the more experience of the deep listening we have, the easier it is for us to just listen, no matter what is happening around. And it's something that cannot be understood by mind with like some concept, but when it's like that embodied experience of listening, so that's, I think, what we are looking for, and why we are having those conversations about listening as an invitation for all of us to allow ourselves to have this experience, because then it's easier to come back to have an experience of listening.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. When you said sometimes you listen to your thinking more than what's going on, I sometimes get curious, or I have gotten curious about what happens if I truly listen, or deep listening with my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm laughing because there's so much like, don't listen to your thinking. Don't, it's terrible, there's no value in it. I noticed that if I'm listening in a way such as where I believe it, then it's just running me and I'm not present, but I'm not actually listening. When I applied sort of a receptive mode, or like how we were talking about, I saw my thinking like from the outside. I could see it was like a game I was running on myself. And then it just started to dissolve and become the nothing that it actually is. And so it was interesting because, or I found that interesting because I would say if I'm with another person listening, I will feel and know who you are at your core. And all of a sudden I could see and feel what my thinking actually was at its core, which was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, this is fantastic. I can even listen to my crazy thinking. Yeah.
And we can see the huge contrast between thinking and reality.
Mhm.
When we are lost in our thinking,
Mm.
there is no contrast, because our thinking is all we can see in that moment. But once we start to listen, we can see there is a thinking, but also there is something else which looks different than what I currently think.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's the moment when that thinking very often starts to dissolve, because it's not relevant anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a world that is not my thinking.
Yeah.
Which that sometimes is a little trippy. Like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. If this world disappears, there's a world. Yeah.
And on the other side, we that's interesting that we know it on some level. We know it when we come back to that
Mm.
pure world, not contaminated with thoughts. We feel at home. We know it there, and we sometimes notice, oh, I have not been here for a while, but this is my home. And
Yeah.
yeah, and in my opinion, it helps to speak about it, because we understand that when we don't feel good or don't feel at home, that what's the reason? That the reason is not what's happening around me, but that I'm just lost in what I think, positive or negative. That doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had hmm, I think when I talked to you, because I met you in Prague a couple times, and I think did I tell you that I was a figure skater growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't remember if I told you that. I figured if you said you played hockey, I probably would have said, "Oh yes, I spent a lot of time with skates on too." um, I got so used to probably from because we had different sports psychologists that came in to tell us different techniques to do, as you probably used to. And I got so used to making up that my performance in anything was going to be fantastic. And I was killing it. And I used to, I would envision doing all the routine and jumps so perfectly. But I got so used to this creating positive thinking about my performance that it was literally a couple weeks ago where I went, oh, I'm making that up and it's not actually real. And there's times where my performance in something, like I do weightlifting now, or even just the way I drive my car, um, the way I might write. So I couldn't see what I was actually doing. I couldn't discern because I had put this habitual filter of, I'm doing everything so great. Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah.
And there were times where I could see a mismatch between, well, Sarah, that lift you did in the gym wasn't good. But I would tell you it was because I honestly believed.
Yeah.
But then I'm looking at the video going, are you lying? No, that's weird. And it was like this weird where I had these two worlds.
Yeah, nice example of how also positive thinking can stand in the way of seeing reality and having a genuine feedback from reality, from which I can be better and make things better.
Yeah, I couldn't get any better at the skill if I couldn't see what I was actually doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was such a habit.
It is, and I can see it a lot in sport. Also, mm, wh- when 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 someone, for example, one girl with goalies in hockey, it's usually there are three goalies in the team,
Mhm.
and one is in the net for majority of time.
Mhm.
So when the second one get a chance, he wants to grab it and show he's worthy and so on. And when it's not working and you have chance one game from 10, and you are not at your best, it's easy to jump into the thinking how bad it is, and when you will get a new chance, and if you will get a new chance, and so on. And very often they try to cope with this, trying to be positive.
Mm.
And it's a few weeks ago I had a chat with one girlie on this topic, and I asked him, uh, how does it feel? And he stopped and he reflected, and he said, oh, it's exhausting. I am tired of it. Well, so now we can have a conversation. What other possibilities you have, if not pushing yourself to think positively is the one working for you. And we when we were finishing the session, he said the sentence, when I feel, I know.
Mm. That's true. Yeah.
When I feel, I know. That's the listening to that feeling, like sometimes it's not in the words, like the it feels to me like feeling contains the wisdom or the knowledge or, or something which based on which I know what to do and what
Mhm.
not to do. But sometimes the answer never comes to the words, to the
Mm.
rational mind. And that's still interesting for me, that feeling contains wisdom. Not as a concept, but you know,
Yeah. Can you say more about how you find that interesting?
that on the one side, that feeling is something you cannot grasp, and on the other side, it is something you can stand on,
Mm.
like a film ground. You can stand on. So, like it's a paradox, not graspable. In the same time, it's so robust. So it requires maybe some kind of a trust
Mm.
to allow yourself to stand on the feeling you cannot grasp with your mind, with your senses, but allow yourself to feel the power of it.
Yeah. What comes to mind when you say that is we're feeling something. Like the thing we're standing on isn't the feeling, it's we're feeling the thing we're standing on, which you could call solid ground or the foundation of life, or I suppose it's an energy. Then I just had the image of like, oh, falling through the end. But it's always there. So it's a constant in life. It's what animates life. And so, yeah, sometimes it feels like trust, but it feels at other times silly to think you have, like, of course I would, it's life. It's not going anywhere. Life is always there.
Yeah, and always speaking something, in its own voice.
Yeah, even if it feels terrible, it's life speaking to us, hey, you've got some terrible thinking going on, or like we're always feeling something. Yeah.
I like the idea of David White. He's a poet,
Mm.
and he says about conversational reality of life. So having making yourself available to conversation with everything.
Mm.
So I when I feel that feeling we are talking about, I sometimes have a conversation with him. I ask the question. I'm asking question not me as a Lukáš, but that feeling. If what it wants to say to me right now, and yeah, sometimes you can hear the answer and it's in the words. And sometimes it's just that you start to do something, and sometimes it's just be there is nothing to do, and I like it. I was used to I was obsessed with doing. I can say
Mm.
was a habit from my career. So you always have to do something to be better.
Yeah.
I stayed with that habit also when I started to be a solopreneur. So I remember I was still employed, and in the same time I had my coaching business, and then I decided to uh, do only my business, and I was imagining how great it will be, how free I will be, how in the middle of the day I can do nothing because I have no boss.
Mm-hmm.
And after months of being on my own, I realized I have boss, and he lives here. And it is the most strict boss I ever had, and the most judgmental boss I ever had. So I had to um, find how to improve relationship with my boss, and maybe to uh, change the organizational structure of my business. so so changing the CEO, but my mind, rational mind, was not good in the CEO position, and ask life if it wants to be in that role. Yeah.
What did life say?
Yeah, it's a, I would say it said yes, and uh, I remember, and it was in yeah. I realized I I didn't know if it will work, if the say the business will succeed in terms of finances and so on. But it didn't make sense to me do it any other way.
Mm.
So if it's meant to fail, okay. Uh, but I don't want have a business for which I will pay the huge price, and the price would be not being me, or yeah, not listen to myself, to life. So it started like an experiment for me, and after a year of experimenting, I remember I had a coaching session with Marina Galan,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked her after the year that I'm not sure if it's enough to have life as CEO. To be myself. I started to doubt it.
Because your rational mind is more powerful than all of the universe and life.
Yeah, because it knows and has all the schedules and tricks and to-dos. But it was very freeing for me to maybe also to really let go and to accept the fact maybe it will not work out. But since then it's 3 years already and I'm still in the game, so far so good.
Yeah, you're here talking to us with a smile on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. You spoke a bit about it. What are other things you see with, say, your hockey players or your clients? I'm thinking more with sports performance, partly because we just had the Olympics, and I don't think this episode will actually come out until the beginning of May, but listeners, you can remember back to the Olympics in February. And I see a lot right now around what they call Olympic pressure. And I saw a article in a magazine. I didn't read it, but it came like into my email about how it said athletes, high-level athletes train themselves. They train their nerve system to be able to handle Olympic pressure. And it made me laugh a bit as if it was some sort of like, can you show me? Like, it's not an object. Like, anyway, so I was thinking, I don't know my exact question, but I feel like talk to us about what you see when people switch, how you've been talking from motivation to clarity or yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but it looks real. The Olympic pressure or any kind of a pressure, it can look real. Yeah. It's a few months ago I became a part of ice hockey team here in Slovakia as a mental coach. And being in the locker room after the years, like triggered all the thinking I used to have when I was playing, thinking, telling me how should I be, because I know how to behave in the locker room to be good one and to be part of the team. No, that's you can learn it. That's easy, but it feels bad. And it's not authentic. It's not. There's no truth in that relationship. But in some way that works. So all that thinking came again, and I was standing in the center of the locker room. They were waiting. I will tell something, and all that thinking was coming to my mind. But I was able to see that it's not the only option to listen to what I think. Not the only option. That I can also listen to myself or to the unknown, and I can choose. So that's something that makes difference also for athletes. And it's interesting that I've never met an athlete, especially from team sports, who wants to have a kind of a mask, but everyone is wearing it. everyone is having a mask because it works on some level.
And you're saying, sorry, you're saying that nobody actually wants it, but they all wear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they think they need. They think they need. So when they come to me and we start to speak about it, it's interesting because when they are being more themselves in the locker room, they are hurt. The people there are more willing to listen. So their impact on the chemistry and atmosphere in the locker room is bigger, even though they are not formal leaders. Some of them don't even play in the each game, so they are on the bench, but they are accepted, and other players are willing to listen to them. So that's one thing that happens. Yeah, and can you remind me what was the question? Because I don't know if I'm answering what we are asking for.
I wasn't asking for anything specific, more just the difference you've seen in how people play or do their sport when they're operating from their natural clarity, or when they understand that pressure is the feeling of their thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What you brought up about mask is interesting. With figure skating, before you said that, I'm not sure I would have been able to articulate, because there's a lot of hours of learning the choreography. And you do have a bit of where then if you've repeated it so much, your body takes over, and once the music starts, you do it. But as a younger person, many figure skaters are quite young because it's physically hard. So it's better when you wear out pretty quick in the sport. But you're given music and you're given costumes, and it's not you. It's a mask. And the trick is finding your natural flow, even though you're doing something. And I remember my coach would always tell me I was too stiff and wooden, and like bring the aliveness out. But I hated the music. I wanted more fun music. At the time, we weren't allowed to have, there's less rules now. We weren't allowed to have popular music or music with words. And so it was all just classical, like Bach and stuff. And it wasn't as fun. What I did love was there was a event. I don't even know if it exists anymore. It was interpretive skating. And so they would play a piece of music in the dressing room, and they would play the piece of music about 3 minutes long, and you would listen to it twice. And then they would call you in a random order, and you would have to go out and perform to it. And you skate to it. And
I never heard about it.
And you would only hear that music. Yeah. And I think it was only done at lower level competitions, but I used to win it because there was no routine. And it literally was an exercise in tapping into flow without a mask in that moment, and just being alive on the ice and expressing and doing, I'm going to do a jump here because the music sounds like a jump. And your clarity, it's like the wisdom in the moment just brings it through you. And there was no mask. And I felt like zero pressure because there was nothing I had to remember.
Yeah.
But now I can see that in that I had no thinking. And so I could just flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So I see the relation between between mask and pressure, because pressure can exist when you think, you believe that you have to prove yourself, prove how you will be perceived by the others, or maybe also by yourself. So, and I would say that the feeling of pressure comes also to people I work with, even though they understand a lot of things. But there is no, they don't add another story to that. I feel pressure, it means that I'm not prepared, or it means that it will be bad. No, it's okay. There's just feeling of a pressure because there is some kind of thinking, and I can just allow myself to feel it, to be with that, and don't try to change, manipulate, control. Just to be as I am in that moment. So there is a feeling of pressure, but it's not standing in the way of being able to perform what I am able to perform in that moment.
Yeah. I remember the thought sometimes would come usually before, like the when you're standing waiting to be called onto the ice, because you haven't started doing your thing yet. You're literally just standing there, and a stadium full of people. I've skated with full, like in Montreal, the full Olympic Stadium where every seat was full, and it's this giant ceiling. And stepping out into the it's a unique feeling. It's not an experience that you get really at other times. But the thought that my entire life is coming down to the next 3 minutes is not a helpful thought.
Yeah.
And I had it a few times where it came, and I remember just, it was wisdom in the moment, kind of like watching yourself do something. Because I didn't really, I didn't have like oh, when that thought comes, I should do this. It was more that I then put my attention out into the audience and just feeling the energy, and there's so much energy. And then the music would start and I would just flow. But yeah, the difference between, if you believe that thought, then you're paralyzed. And if you just put your attention on anything other than that, you go into the thing you're wonderful at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different experience, same situation but different experience.
Oh yeah. Yeah, nothing changed.
Yeah.
And it was all in a split second, like two glides, like step onto the ice. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's so noisy in our heads that it seems important to listen to what we are thinking,
Yeah.
but it's not helpful.
Yeah.
But it has to be recognized. I was delivering one program for a company here nearby, and it was about stress and worries. And I asked a group of people, 16 of them, who doesn't want to uh, feel stress, and everyone raised a hand. And I asked the second question, who doesn't want to have worries? And only 3 hands raised up. So I asked, okay, tell me why. And the answers was like, uh, I want to worry because otherwise I would not be responsible parent.
Mm.
So that's, I think, why we sometimes still listen to our thinking, because it feels important. It feels that it makes me responsible. And I like the word in English, responsibility, like response ability, ability to respond and
Mm.
to contemplate when I am able to respond, when I am responsive, when I am worrying, or when I am here, when I am listening. And in my experience, it was I'm never more responsive when I'm in my thinking. Never.
Yeah. How could you be? Because you're not present or clear with life, so you can't respond to it. Yeah.
So it seems that presence is something we are made for, we can say.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a funny idea. Because I had a conversation this morning with a client, the same thing. She felt that she was helping her daughter by worrying. And I sort of said to her, well, how does that work? Like, if you're feeling bad right now and worrying, is she now like feeling better about her? It was a health situation. So she now like is her health improving? She lives across town. How does that work? And she, oh, well, no, that doesn't at all. But in so many areas, we think we are being good people, responsible people. We're doing a good job if we worry or pay attention to whatever thinking comes up. I remember in sports getting, I don't know if it was ever directly the message, but I got the message that if I wasn't feeling pressure, I wasn't a good athlete.
Yeah.
And good athletes feel pressure. If I don't feel pressure and I'm too relaxed, oh, then I'm no good lazy bones, or I'm just I might as well be like a stoner. Like I'm not a high performance. People feel pressure. That's how you know you're good. It's ridiculous because it just makes it harder, and then you can't do the performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is another unwritten rule that after a bad performance, you should feel bad about yourself.
Oh,
That's the
yeah,
next stage. Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we lost the game and were traveling in bus back home, it was when in my teens. Uh, we had a lot of fun. When we won, the atmosphere was not as good. Maybe everyone was thinking about playing in NHL and dreaming, but when we lost, we had a lot of fun. And coaches didn't get it. They shouted and they
Mm.
told us, "You are not supposed to smile and to have fun. You lost the game. Come on, you should feel bad." So uh, at least me, I learned to feel bad. It was like uh, even when I didn't, I pretended I feel bad.
Yeah.
To show that
Yes.
I know what good hockey player
Mm.
uh, does. Yeah, I know it. I know it.
That's funny. I currently do, I compete in the sport of Olympic weightlifting in sometimes, so at a master's level, like older. older people, age 30 to I think the oldest is like 89. And in the warm-up room, you can see how different people, different ideas they have about what it is to perform, what it is to get in their best state. And some people like don't talk to anyone else and just listen to music, and other people get really interesting behavior comes out, and you can see some of the rules they have in their mind about how they're supposed to look in these situations. And
Yeah.
and I had one competition where after I learned about listening, about who we are, about principles of life, where I had zero, I was so relaxed, zero pressure, zero thinking, zero. And it's a strength sport. And I learned that you need some adrenaline, or adrenaline is very helpful because I went out and I couldn't lift the weight at all. And it was an easy weight. It was, you pick one for your opening that is like you can do no problem. And I couldn't do it. And
Mm.
I failed and I came back. You get 3 tries. And my coach looked at me funny, like, you okay? And I remember I said to him, I'll get it the next time. Like, don't worry. And I sat there and I thought about things that I deliberately brought things to mind that created some anger in me.
Mm.
And then I could feel adrenaline coming up. And then I went out and tried the same weight and it was too light and I almost lost it overhead because it like flew out of my hands. The bar actually came up and landed again. And so it was really interesting seeing how it has nothing to do with the environment or if I want adrenaline, I can create it. If I want relaxation, my natural state. Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
interesting.
nice pointing to the value of listening, because having an idea that I should be relaxed no matter what is again just an idea.
Yeah.
But when you started to listen to yourself, yeah, now I know I need to make something to get the adrenaline. So you know what to do, and that's routine is not needed. It can be helpful. A lot of athletes have routines. That's what you are observing in the locker room. But yeah, when you listen to yourself, you sometimes you can listen to music. Sometimes you will speak with everyone, and sometimes you have to make yourself angry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember because you have 2 minutes, and I remember thinking, okay, if I get really angry, I can lift that. I'll do it. But I wasn't really angry. I was, because the me that decided that was a good thing to do in the moment, I was happy. I was myself. I was the energy of life, thinking, okay, let's get some adrenaline going here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
I heard a story about Craig Ramsey, who was ice hockey coach, and he also spent 4 years as a coach of national ice hockey team here in Slovakia
Mhm.
and in the Olympics, but not this one in Milano, but in Beijing in
Mhm.
2022. We were playing against Sweden. It was bronze medal game, and after 2 periods, we were in lead in 2 goals, and he came into the locker room and started to shout on players. He didn't do that before. He's very calm and clarity and like a very like deeply grounded. Uh, and so he shouted on the players. He got outside of the locker room with all the other coaches, and they asked him, "What what was that? I've never seen it, and now we are leading by 2 goals." And And he said, because I know your mentality. They started to think it's all done.
Mm.
So they needed to, to hear and to feel it's not done yet. So it was maybe the only time when he shouted, and it was in the situation nobody would expect to do that. But he knew, he listened. He didn't follow instructions. So that's the value of listening, also in the context of sport.
Yeah. I've seen that so often in so many different sports where when something starts to go wrong, um, my husband likes to watch NFL football. And if one team starts to, if the points get and the team starts losing, you can see the whole team give up and they stop attacking or going, or they literally, you can see they're listening to their thinking that the game is over, where there might be 15 minutes left. 15 minutes is like forever in football. You could get 3 touchdowns. Or I've seen figure skaters where like they might have one fall early on in the program. If they pick themselves up and do the rest of the program perfect, they'll get pretty good marks. But they decide, oh, I'm done. And or they listen to that. And they don't, I guess they don't know you can listen to something else. You cannot make it mean anything. You can, I have seen the value in getting, well, I talked about getting angry, but yeah, in certain things, if you really want a lot of energy, coming back in the game. Yeah.
And in the figure skating, you don't have a lot of time to switch or to.
You have to not care. Like if you fall, I would say it's easiest if you decide ahead of time, whatever happens, happens, and I'm going to perform as if it didn't. So you literally stand up and it never happened and you're carrying on. So it means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being willing to lose everything, yeah, makes you free.
Yeah. Actually, I see that a lot. I've seen it a lot online about weightlifting recently, how you need mental toughness. And that would be, say, if you miss your first lift. Oh no, to miss one and come back and do a second requires mental toughness. I'm doing little air quotes for people not seeing the video. But really, it's putting no meaning. Okay. If you're in a sport or even giving, say, a performance in any field, you've done that behavior over and over and over and over and over again. You've missed a lift in the gym and gone back and done even better 100 times. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like that when we feel insecure, we
Mm.
are we are more like uh, prone to listen to our thinking, because it seems it keeps you safe.
Mm.
That's how it can look like.
It can. In a way, it's the opposite of that positive thinking, like the motivating, I'm so great. It's like the I'm so terrible, or oh, it all went wrong, so I'm not going to try anymore. And but it's both the same thing. It's we're listening to thinking. keeping you from clarity and from life. Yeah.
And I remember that all the highlights and then the best performances were connected with curiosity. And when I was being curious, what will happen next? But not expecting that something specific will happen, but just be curious what will be the next thing that will happen. And then for me it was like then that curiosity was an invitation for me to listen. So it comes hand in hand, curiosity and listening.
Yeah. If you're not curious, you're not going to listen. Because oh, I know. So why would I need to listen? Because I know.
Exactly.
I know all the answers. You listen to me. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why the listening is living question for me. No, it can happen through different gates, I would say. Sometimes it's through curiosity. Sometimes it's just from the knowing that I am in the situation with which I have no experience, so I have no data in my mind how to deal with that.
Mm.
So yeah, different gates, how to listen.
I like that with the different gates. Yeah. That's awesome. So we are going to see you at the summit in Prague, May 23 to 25, coming up. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, my favorite event of the year.
Yeah.
After the experience with previous ones, yeah, it's main event.
Why do you love it?
Because of people and because of the power that summit have, the potential it has. It all for me it's always full of insights, and also I can be witness of insights of the others, and so for me it's a great reminder how life is simple, and also that it can be lived simply.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love that event, and then yeah, meeting all the known faces and the new ones. So it's I had a conversation with one girlie today about this summit, and come and see. It's the best invitation I can say, because I can describe it,
Mm-hmm.
but having an experience of it is it's totally different, and it's better than we think it is before we have any experience of it.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, it is hard to say. The come and see is really good, because it's anything I would say about how wonderful an experience it is will fall short.
How was it for you?
It was great. I feel like you had more of a question there that how was it?
How was it for you last year and the previous one?
They were both different and both wonderful. Last year, because the venue was a little smaller and people were sitting around tables together rather than like an audience seating, there was much more interaction and much more, there was listening and expressing at each table during breakout times. And then there was also listening to the speaker, but the speaker was also receiving from the audience. And so there's this flow that I feel throughout the whole, it was like all 200 and some of us, or I don't know how many people were there, but a few hundred. This giving and receiving, this flow that is, it's all one. And um, yeah, people were having the most beautiful insights because of that presence that we were in, because of that listening space everyone was in. People started to just almost like pop off like popcorn around the room. And one person would say something and I would hear someone behind me gasp. And I remember someone might stand up to share something and they would say, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I'm moved to say, and I could see someone else's jaw drop. And we were all for each other. Yeah.
And no hierarchy between speaker and audience. Yeah,
Yeah.
really connected, sharing the sameness of being a human.
Yeah. Yeah. And all the way the translation flows is in that space. It's interesting because you could think, well, there's so many languages and so many people who have different languages, and there was a table of people from the Ukraine, and there was a table of people, and then all the people speaking Czech and English, and and people who spoke Russian but not this language, and but it didn't matter. It all flowed, and people spoke to me in Czech, and I understood their intention, not their exact words, and then I spoke English back to them, and they smiled and
Yeah.
and yeah, it didn't matter. But the translation as well is so fluid. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, the last day I was sitting at the table at the Ukrainian
Yeah.
table, and I asked them to not speak in English but in their Ukrainian language. So it was great experience for me because then you can't listen to the words because you don't understand.
Mhm.
So it was easy for me to listen, just to be there and listen. And I really honored the experience I could have, and I felt so close to all of them, and it was easy to love them all as they are, even though everyone is different in some way. Uh, the shared humanity of it was
Yeah.
really powerful. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to each of to each one, to everyone who will join us and come to that space with us.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're getting close to the end of our time today, and anything you want to leave the podcast listeners with, like a parting thought?
I would like to invite them to explore the listening we were talking about,
Mm.
to play with it. When someone who was listening, if this was the first time he heard something like deep listening or anything, so okay, play with that. But also for people who are experiencing it, to allow themselves to have listening as a living question, as a living experience, not an idea. So yeah, explore.
Yeah. That'll be awesome. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time with our next episode. Bye.